Okay, what are three things men struggle most with dating in midlife? Now, there's a question. I'm going to answer this as a general question. I think for most guys, it's probably opportunity, the same as women, because they're probably not out that much. I think it's about finding age appropriate places as well, because what they'll do is they might go out with a load of married friends, let's say. And those married friends, they just want to have a night out. So they're going to go to places where they really don't care if they're the oldest person in there, because they're not looking for anything else but just to probably have a giggle, have a laugh, and just enjoy themselves. So they'll go to a club where it could be full of, under 25s. They don't care. They just want to go out, get obliterated, and have a good night and then go home because their life is set. For the guy that's single, they're looking at every time they go out could be an opportunity to meet someone. Probably not the best way to go out to start with, but they may be looking at this as an opportunity like, right, I haven't been out for 6 weeks. I may meet someone tonight. And then they find themselves in a club of under 25s where they're looking around thinking, is this what my life has come to? You know, everyone's looking at you like either you're cleaning the toilets or, you're looking for your daughter. Yeah, it's one of them is probably opportunity. Two of them, it's probably about knowing what they're actually looking for. Because if they've come out of relationships and they've been married, been through divorces, or they've had kids, they're probably going to be looking for something completely different to what they had to begin with. Uh, and if it's a case of they came out of a relationship where there wasn't enough intimacy for them, that's what they're going to be looking for. They're going to be, because they're going to be starving. That it's going to be to them. They're going to feel like this world has opened up. Their last previous memory of being single was that they could go out all the time and have great fun. So they're probably going to be trying to replicate that. They will find out very quickly that, that's not the case. But they may be in that stage where they're just running around like a 20-year-old again. Thirdly, it's probably confidence, maybe for a lot of them, because they'll have a memory of what they were like in their 20s, and they've probably been in relationships for a long time where they've become very complacent and they've grown with someone and they've grown older with someone and they've become very set in their ways. Meeting new people and having to do different things may be a big shock to their system. Uh, They may not know what they want, and they may be aware of that, and they may not want anything. They may just want to enjoy being independent as well. And for them, that's going to be very difficult for them to give up as well. I think that's the other thing. And I found this because they probably find that they've got the best of all the worlds they wanted at the moment. They can do everything they want. They can still see their kids. They can maintain their work life. They've probably still got their social circles. So probably for them, the other biggest problem for guys dating in midlife is knowing what they want, if they want anything at all. And what do you give someone that doesn't want anything? As a woman, it's very difficult. A bit like when I buy my mum Christmas presents. They get to a stage of what else do they need now? It's almost giving them something they don't know they need. Um, and that will probably be the changing factor in them when they find something they didn't know they was actually looking for and didn't know it was out there because they'd never experienced it before. Okay, one piece of advice for women who are dating, what would it be? For anyone that's dating, women or men, but I think especially women, I would say don't settle. That would be my one piece of advice. Don't think that you need a relationship to be happy. A relationship should be an added bonus. It shouldn't be what makes you. If you're desperately looking for someone else to fill gaps in your life that are not there, that's probably going to cause you more upset in the long run, I think. You may find someone that gives you things that you want, but don't need them from them. You should be able to fulfill those things yourself. So let's say it's love. Say you want to feel love. There are lots of ways that you can feel love. You can have love in your own kids, grandkids, hobbies, whatever it may be. You can have a love of being with your friends. It if you're looking for someone to make you happy, that's a lot of pressure to put on someone else. And then you're going to need a certain sort of character to do that. And those certain sort of characters may be very controlling, which later on you may find very suffocating. But you were probably drawn to those characters in the first place because they gave you the impression they were making you happy. So that would be my piece of advice to women that are dating is don't settle. Find what you want. Your life is worth a lot more. The one piece of advice I've always given to my son is, find what you want in anything. Don't settle for something that's less than what you want. No, whether that be work, relationships, hobbies, whatever it may be. Find what makes you happy. Um, and make sure it's everything that makes you happy. Because otherwise, you're not only wasting your time, you're wasting someone else's time, and that's kind of worse because the other person may not be aware of that, and you might tell them way too late in your life. And I think that's the one thing that we all know. We all know lots of people that are in relationships that settled, and now they find themselves unhappy, and they stay there because they don't want to upset anyone. And maybe hopefully that works out, but a lot of the time it doesn't, and then it wastes a lot of people's time. Okay, women talk. Do men think they don't? Why do men think it's okay to have one? Okay, so this was dating in your area. Okay, now when you go on these dating apps and you find someone that lives, 2 or 3 miles away from you, you probably think, brilliant, local. Yeah, you need to think again a little bit because if you keep doing this, the chances are, if those women are single, they may know each other. So, what this woman has said is that her and her friends, she's got a little single group of friends, and they've been talking to the same guy. He doesn't know this because he's on different sites, and they're all having the same conversation. And they're asking him, so you're not talking to anyone else? And I say obviously, but he's going, no, what he should say is, look, it's dating apps, we're all just trying to find out if we're compatible. But he said no. So they've got him banged to rights, but they're having a bit of fun with him at his expense. He just doesn't know this. Do guys speak to each other? No, not always, not as in depth as women do, I don't think. Some maybe more than others, but I think a lot of guys are that they'll keep things a little bit closer to their chest and they'll be very brief. They won't go into so much detail with women as women do, because women will go into all sorts of detail, I'm told, about all sorts of things. Where men are very simple. Keep saying this. We are simple creatures. We're not complex at all. And why do men think it's okay to have one pick? I don't listen. All I can think is a lot of guys probably may think they've only got one good picture. Guys, especially older guys, not used to taking selfies. Me, I'm taking 100 a day for content now. Go back 5 years, I didn't have a selfie on the camera and I detested it. And I thought everyone that was doing it was absolutely stupid. But they might only have one picture. And they also probably think, do you know what? You're going to look at one picture of me. You're going to decide whether you like me or not. If you're interested, you'll continue on. But now with dating apps, you need several pictures. But women do the same as well. Listen, if someone's only got one picture, that was a no for me straight away. Because if they're only putting one picture of themselves, it's not a good sign, is it? Why people do that, I don't know. But my advice would be if they've only got one picture, I wouldn't even bother with it. Why do guys want younger women and not date their own age? Going to be honest with this one. If you've got a guy that is in their 50s, let's say, and they are in good shape and they work hard to keep themselves in good shape and they do all the right things and they can attract younger women, they're going to go for younger women because they're going to think, and maybe from the dating apps as well, that looking at women their own age, they're just not attracted to them. That's been my experience when I talk to guys. They're looking at women that their own age and they are not attracted to women their own age. However, women that are the same age, that are in really good shape and look after themselves as well, say exactly the same thing. So that's no different. However, sometimes guys remember how they were in their 20s and think they're still like that. I think women do that as well. And they're going to be trying to look for maybe physical relationships rather than relationships that are deeper. Whereas I do think that women will be looking for more out of a relationship sometimes. And like I said, a guy could have come out of a long, messy divorce relationship and just wants some fun. And he doesn't want to find anyone his own age because he knows someone their own age are going to be looking for more. So he may think to himself, do you know what? If I go out with someone 10 years younger than me, they may not be looking for a long time. They just may be looking for a good time. So that's probably why they're going for younger women. And it's like, you guys, I keep saying men are simple creatures as well, and they're very visual. So their attraction will be to something visually maybe more stimulating. And they're also going to think if they've come out of a relationship where it lacked intimacy, that may be the general feeling right across that age group, in their 40s and 50s. So they may think, right, you know, i- if I want more intimacy in my life, then I'm going to need to look for someone that's younger, that has still got that drive and sexual appetite. But women are the same as well. Like I said, we see it from our side of the fence. So it's not about not dating their own age. It's about they haven't found women their own age that are dateable to them. And it's all person preference. And they may just be looking for something a lot easier, a lot more simplistic to them. And they may be looking for something short term where older women may be, or maybe not, looking for something that's longer term with a bit more meaning, a bit more depth to it. And that's my honest answer. From talking to guys, this is what guys will tell you. Look, they probably won't tell women that, but they will tell each other that. Okay, last question. How honest do you think people are in midlife dating about what they want? Whoa, that's a big one. I think people in midlife dating don't always know what they want. I know, and I think we're all at different stages in our life in midlife from our past experiences. Some people have been single a long time. Some people have just come out of relationships. Some people have unfortunately lost people and then maybe looking for new love. Some people just want intimacy. Some people want mental stimulation. Some people want to find their soulmate. Some people may have never been married, never found what they want. Some people have had careers that have, taken preference over everything else, and now they're at that stage in their life. So we're all at different starting points in midlife. In your 20s, we're all kind of at the same place. We've all just sort of come out of school at 18, 19, come out of university at 22, 23, starting our first jobs. So we're all roughly around the same stage. So you're all equally starting. At midlife, we're not. We're all at different places. It's like having a 100-meter race, but we're all running in different directions. No one is going down the same path. So it's very difficult. And that would be why I don't think it's people aren't honest. I think a lot of people don't know what they want, and they probably don't care they don't know what they want because they're quite happy not knowing for a change. They might have had 15 years of knowing what they want and that didn't work out for them. So they may be thinking to themselves, do you know what? I'm going to have a couple of years of not caring about what I want. I'm just going to enjoy each day, find myself a little bit more and start enjoying myself. And that's the problem with midlife dating, is that it's trying to find people that are on the same course as you. And from my experience, you know, the best ones you'll find accidentally. You probably won't find on a dating app. They may be someone that you've known for a while. and then you just connect. And it may not be when you're first single, it may be, 5, 10 years down the line where both your circumstances have changed and you end up at the right time, same place as them. And you might then just see where that goes. So I think that's the thing about midlife dating. It's so higgledy piggledy. And that's why the dating apps at our age are so turbulent because, you know, th- in their 20s, and I said this on our last pod, I spoke to a couple of guys when I was out with Zach a couple of weeks ago, a couple of friends of his, and they were talking about the dating apps like it was a night out for them. There was no stigma attached to it. There was no pressure attached to it. They didn't read into anything. They didn't worry about the ghosting. They really didn't care because they've grown up with it and everyone's at the same point. So there's no pressure on them. It's not like that at midlife. And midlife can be from 30 to sort of, 70, 80. It's a long period midlife because you can only define your midlife by the age you check out. You know, if you live to 110, you're not reaching midlife till sort of 55. Yeah, I'm in midlife. Frightening thought. So yeah, it's all different for all of us. That's the one thing about midlife dating that makes it complicated, makes it exciting, and that's the exciting part for me. That was the one thing that I held on to when I was single, dating was you never know what was round the corner. As Tom Hanks said in Castaway, you never know what the tide brings in. And that's one thing that I learned is, you could have a horrendous day one day, you get up the next day and everything changes really quickly. Sometimes not for the good. Very occasionally it changes for the good. And that's what make life about. Life is messy and you kind of have to embrace that. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining 50 Shades and Grey. Thank you so much, you guys, for all the questions. Sorry I didn't get around to all of them. We was overwhelmed by the response, but, hopefully I've answered some of the things for you all in there. Just a guy's opinion. Hope that helps. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow and give me your feedback and appreciate your time listening to me on the show. Take care, guys. See you next week.